It's been 72 hours now since the Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program ran out of funds for emergency small business loans, having gone through some $349 billion. Democrats say they want to make sure the next tranche of money goes to underserved small businesses and mom and pop shops, as opposed to big chains such as Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and Potbelly. Are you going to try to fix that? Where are you in negotiations?
Well, Jake, it's great to be here with you, and I think we're making a lot of progress. I've had multiple conversations all weekend with the leadership of both the Senate and the House. I spoke with Chuck Schumer this morning already. I know he's on after, and I think we're making a lot of progress. And let me just say on this PPP program, it was 3 weeks ago that the president signed the law. We had the program up and running in a week, which was unprecedented. It's impacted now over 30 million Americans. And let me just comment, the community banks have done an extraordinary job. 60% of the loans have been approved by banks that have 10 billion of assets and below, and 20% with 1 billion and below. So the community banks have just done a terrific job here getting these loans approved.
2 weeks ago, you promised businesses, quote, if you can't get the loan today or tomorrow, don't worry, there will be money. Some analysts and experts tell CNN that ultimately the Paycheck Protection Program might need upwards of $1 trillion. What do you think?
I don't think that's the case. And, you know, we're incredibly pleased with the participation rate. And because of that, we want Congress to approve more funds right away. We think that another $300 billion, that's what we're talking about, should be sufficient to reach almost everybody. And let me just comment, we've also reached an agreement on SBA disaster loans. So there'll be another $50 billion appropriated, which can do over $300 billion of disaster loans. So these two programs are unprecedented response to small businesses, which I think you know is about 50% of the American workforce.
And when do you think the deal will be done? When do you think there will be an agreement and small businesses that weren't able to get in on the first $349 billion will be able to get some funding that they desperately need?
I'm hopeful that we can reach an agreement, that the Senate can pass this tomorrow and that the House can take it up on Tuesday. And Wednesday, we'd be back up and running.
Okay, so you think a deal might be done today?
I'm hopeful. I think we're very close to a deal today, and I'm hopeful that we can get that done.
Democrats are also pushing, as you know, for more funding for hospitals and for state governments in this bill. Republican Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland says, quote, without sufficient federal relief, states will have to confront the prospect of significant reductions to essential services, unquote. Will funding for hospitals and state governments be in this deal?
Well, Jake, hospitals are very important, and these are really the people who are on the front line. And we have two issues. We have, one, the issue of hospitals that are overwhelmed with COVID patients, but we also have hospitals that are doing no business because there's no elective surgery. So this is really an issue that impacts hospitals across the board. The good news is in the last bill, we have $100 billion that's allocated. I've been working very closely with Mark Meadows, who's overseeing this for the White House. We've already distributed a lot of money, and we've agreed to have another $75 billion in this bill, plus an unprecedented investment in testing. I know everybody's focused on testing. We're talking about a $25 billion federal program, money that can be used with the states with new technology to invest in testing.
So it sounds as though there's going to be money for testing, money for hospitals, money for small businesses, but it doesn't sound like state and local government funding will be in this bill at the very least.
The president has heard from the governors, and he's prepared to discuss that in the next bill. Right now, we have a lot of money that we're distributing to the states. We have $150 billion that we've distributed half. We'll distribute the other half. And the president is willing to consider that in the next bill, but wants to get this over the finish line with focus on small business, hospitals, and testing.